the spring of 1943, the Allies faced a problem that could cost 100,000 lives. They were going to invade Sicily, and if the Germans knew, the beaches would be waiting for them. The island was the obvious next step. Every German general with a map could see it. The British needed the Germans to be somewhere else when the landing craft touched shore. Two intelligence officers were given an impossible task: make Hitler believe the attack was coming somewhere else. Their plan, codenamed Operation Mincemeat, began with a dead man. Not a spy, not a soldier, a vagrant named Glyndwr Michael, who had died alone in an empty warehouse in London. This is the complete story of Operation Mincemeat and the man who never was. Glyndwr Michael, 34 years old, had come to London from Wales during the war. He had no family, no fixed address, no one who would miss him. He had eaten rat poison, accidentally or deliberately, no one ever knew, and died of the phosphorus it contained. Montague and Cholmondeley had been searching the coroner's lists for months. They needed a specific kind of body. The corpse had to be a man. It had to be able to survive a sea voyage in a metal canister of dry ice without showing signs of decomposition that would expose the deception. Most critically, it had to die from causes consistent with drowning, so that Spanish doctors would believe the story they were about to be told. Glyndwr Michael fit. The phosphorus in his lungs was close enough to the fluid of a drowned man. They gave him a new name, Major William Martin, Royal Marines. Then they built him a life. Every prop in a dead man's pocket had to be real enough to fool the Abwehr. They gave him a father who wrote letters, a fiancée named Pam, an unpaid bill from his tailor, a receipt for an engagement ring he hadn't picked up yet. The letters from Pam were written by a real woman, Jean Leslie, a secretary at MI5, who agreed to have her photograph placed over the heart of a dead man. In his breast pocket, they placed the letters that would change the war. The documents, signed by real generals, described a two-pronged Allied invasion of Greece and Sardinia. Sicily was a decoy, the letters said. Every detail was cross-checked against what German intelligence would know, would expect, would recognize as genuine. On the 28th of April 1943, HMS Seraph slipped out of the Holy Loch in Scotland. Below decks, in the forward torpedo room, was a steel canister packed with dry ice. Major William Martin was on his last mission. The submarine surfaced in the early hours of the 30th of April, 2 miles off the coast of Huelva, Spain. Spain was officially neutral, but its military intelligence had deep ties to Nazi Germany, and everyone in London knew it. Lieutenant Bill Jewell ordered Major Martin slipped over the side into the Atlantic. The tide did the rest. Within hours, a Spanish fisherman spotted a floating body. The body was brought ashore. Spanish authorities photographed the identity card. Major William Martin, Royal Marines. The briefcase was there. The chain was still attached to his wrist. The letters were inside. German agents were notified within hours. The Abwehr had the letters photographed before returning them, still damp, to the British. The photographs reached Berlin. German intelligence analysts studied every word, every signature, every watermark. The verdict, the documents, were authentic. Germany moved panzer divisions to Greece. Field Marshal Rommel was sent to Greece to command the defenses. Hitler personally ordered that Sicily was a feint. The landing is expected in Sardinia and the Peloponnese, he told his generals. In London, one message arrived from an agent in Madrid. Mincemeat swallowed whole. On the 9th of July 1943, the largest amphibious invasion in history up to that point hit the beaches of Sicily. German resistance was fractured and confused. The defenders who should have been there were in Greece. Sicily fell in 38 days. An operation that generals feared could take months and cost tens of thousands of lives ended in weeks. Operation Mincemeat had worked beyond anyone's wildest projection. Years later, the operation was declassified. Even Montague wrote a book. The title was the phrase the operation had given the man in the briefcase, the man who never was. Glyndwr Michael was buried in Huelva under the name William Martin. For decades, the identity of the real man beneath the uniform was classified. In 1998, researcher Roger Morgan pieced together the evidence and identified Glyndwr Michael for the first time. The gravestone in Glyndwr was amended. It now reads, Glyndwr Michael served as Major William Martin, a man who died alone in a London warehouse, whose body was used without his consent by people who never knew his name, is now remembered as one of the unlikely heroes of the Second World War. Whether he would have volunteered, had anyone thought to ask him, no one can say. What is certain is that tens of thousands of men came home from Sicily because the current took a dead man ashore on a Spanish beach. Remember to like and subscribe, and never let history be forgotten.